Hello friends, today we will learn about structure of atoms, molecules and chemical bonds. That is molecules and their interaction relevant to biology. Let's know about structures of atoms, molecules and chemical bonds. A chemical element is a pure chemical substance consisting of one type of atom distinguished by its atomic number, which is the number of protons in its nucleus. The term is also used to refer a pure chemical substance composed of atoms with the same number of protons. In total, 118 elements have been observed so far, of which 94 occur naturally on Earth. 80 elements have stable isotopes, namely all elements with atomic number 1 to 82, except elements 43 and 61, that is technetium and promethium. Elements with atomic number 83 or higher, that is bismuth and above, are inherently unstable and undergo radioactive decay. The elements from atomic number 83 to 94 have no stable nuclei but are nevertheless found in nature. Of the total stable elements, in nature 15 are present in all living things, and further 8 to 10 are only found in particular organisms. More than 99% of the atoms in animals' bodies are accounted for by just four elements, that is hydrogen, oxygen, carbon and nitrogen. Hydrogen and oxygen are the constituents of water, which alone makes up to 60 to 70% of the cell mass. Together with carbon and nitrogen, hydrogen and oxygen are also the major constituents of the organic compounds on which most living processes depend. Many biomolecules also contain sulfur or phosphorus. The other biologically important group of elements which together present only about 0.5% of the body mass is present almost exclusively in the form of inorganic ions. This group includes the alkali metals sodium and potassium and the alkaline earth metals magnesium and calcium. The halogen chlorine is also always ionized in the cell. All other elements important for life are present in such small quantities that they are referred to as trace elements. These include transition metals can also be classed as essential trace elements. Let's know about electromagnetic radiation. What do you mean by electromagnetic radiation? Electromagnetic radiation is a form of energy transmission in which electric and magnetic fields are propagated as waves through empty space or through a medium such as glass. According to a theory proposed by James Clerk Maxwell in 1865, electromagnetic radiation, a propagation of electric and magnetic fields, is produced by an accelerating charged particles. The SI unit for frequency is s to the power minus 1 is the hertz. The basic SI wavelength unit is the meter. Because many types of electromagnetic radiation have very short wavelengths, however, small units, including those listed like centimeter, micrometer, angstrom are used. Angstrom, named by the Swedish physicist Anders Angstrom, is not an SI unit. 1 centimeter equals to 1 into 10 to the power minus 2 meter. 1 micrometer equals to 1 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter. 1 angstrom equals to 1 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter or 100 pm. The addi- When a beam of white light is passed through a transparent medium, the wavelength components are refracted differently. The light is dispersed into a band of colors, a spectrum. Subatomic particles. Let's know about subatomic particles. The atom is composed of many types of subatomic particles, but only three types will be important in this course. Proton and neutrons exist in the atom's nucleus and electrons exist outside the nucleus. The uncombined atom is neither positive nor negative but electrically neutral, and thus the number of protons must equal the number of electrons. That means number of protons equals to number of electrons for neutral atom. Electron. What do you mean by electron? A negatively charged subatomic particle of an atom or ion that is outside of the nucleus. A neutral atom contains the same number of electrons as there are protons in the nucleus. A negatively charged beta particle is an electron that is emitted from the nucleus as a result of a nuclear decay process. Let's know about proton. What do we mean by proton? A subatomic particle having a mass of 1.0073 AMU and the charge of +1 found in the nuclei of atoms. The nucleus of normal hydrogen is made up of proton. Thus, the ionized form of normal hydrogen is often called a proton. An atomic particle found in the nuclei of atoms that is similar to a proton in mass but has no electric charges. Some important terms like atomic number Z is equal to the number of proton, that is P, in the atom and determines its identity as Z equals to P. The number of neutrons in the nuclei of atoms of the same element can differ. Mass number, that is A, the sum of the number of proton and neutron in an atom. A equals to P plus N or equals to Z plus N. Atomic mass unit, that is AMU, 1/12 of a mass of an atom of the carbon C12 isotope. A unit used for stating atomic and formula weights, also called a Dalton. Isotope different from a single element that have the same number of protons but have different numbers of neutrons in their nuclei. Radioactive isotopes are unstable and break down until they become stable. Carbon 14 is a radioactive isotope of carbon that is used to dead fossilized organic matter. Structure of atoms. Let's know about structure of atoms. The word atom has been derived from Greek word atomio, which means unquotable or non-divisible. The atomic theory of matter was proposed on a firm scientific basis by John Dalton, a British school teacher in 1808. Let's know about Dalton's atomic theory. Atom as the ultimate particle of matter. The experimental observations made by scientists towards the end of 19th and beginning of 20th century have established that atoms can be further divided into subatomic particles, that is electrons, protons and neutrons, concept very different from that of Dalton. In 1803, John Dalton proposed his atomic theory including some postulates. Let's know about some postulates. First point is matter is made up of very tiny indivisible particles called atoms. The atoms of each element all have the same mass, but the mass of the atoms of one element is differ from the mass of the atom of every other element. Atoms combine to form molecules. When they do so, they combine in small whole number ratios. Atoms of same pairs of elements can combine with each other in different small whole number ratios to form different compounds. If atoms of two elements can combine to form more than one compound, the most stable compound has the atoms in a 1:1 ratio. The first three postulates have had to be amended, and the fifth was quickly abandoned together. But the postulates explained the law of the chemical combination known at the time, and they caused great activity among chemists, which lead to more generalization and further advanced in chemistry. Thom's plum pudding model of the atom. In 1904, Sir J. J. Thomson proposed the first definite theory as the internal structure of the atom. According to this theory, the atom was assumed to consist of a sphere of uniform distribution of about 10 to the power minus 10 meter positive charge with electrons embedded in it such that the number of electrons equal to the number of positive charges and the atom as a whole is electrically neutral. This model of atom could account the electrical naturality of atom, but it could not explain the results of gold foil scattering experiment carried out by Rutherford. Let's know about Rutherford scattering experiment. Rutherford conducted a scattering experiment in 1911 to find out the arrangement of electrons and protons. He bombarded a thin gold foil with a stream of fast-moving, positively charged particles emanating from radium. He redesigned experiment to use alpha particles as in atomic bullets. The alpha particle was heavy and positively charged. It is a helium nuclei, that is 2 protons and 2 neutrons. The beta particle was light and negatively charged and the electron. Rutherford designed an experiment to use the alpha particles emitted by a radioactive element as probes to the unseen world of atomic structure. Rutherford beamed alpha particles through gold foil and detected them as flashes of light or scintillations on a screen. The gold foil was only 0.00004 centimeter thick, meaning on a few hundreds of atoms thick. If the Thomson model of atoms was correct, then the alpha particles would pass through with relatively little deflection. Let's know about Rutherford's nuclear model of an atom. This model resulted from conclusions drawn from experiments on the scattering of alpha particles from a radioactive source when the particles were passed through thin sheets of metal foil. According to him, most of the space in the atom is empty as most of the A particles passed through the foil. A few positively charged alpha particles are deflected. The deflection must be due to enormous repulsive force, showing that the positive charge of atom is not spread through the atom as Thomson had thought. The positive charge has to be concentrated in a very small volume that repelled and deflected the positively charged U particles. This very small portion of the atom was called nucleus by Rutherford. Calculations by Rutherford showed that the volume occupied by the nucleus is negligibly small as compared to the total volume of the atom. The diameter of the atom is about 10 to the power minus 10 meter, while that of nucleus is 10 to the power minus 5 meter. On the basis of these observations and conclusions, Rutherford proposed the nucleus model of atom. According to this model, an atom consists of a tiny positively charged nucleus as its center. The positive charge of nucleus is due to protons. The mass of the nucleus, on the other hand, is due to protons and some neutral particles, each having mass nearly equal to the mass of protons. This neutral particle called neutron was discovered later on by Chadwick in 1932. Protons and neutrons present in the nucleus are collectively known as nucleons. The number of nucleons is termed as mass number of the atom. The nucleus is surrounded by electrons that move around the nucleus with very high speed in circular path called orbits. Thus, Rutherford's model of atom resembles the solar system, in which the sun plays the role of the nucleus and the planets that of resolving electrons. The number of electrons in an atom is equal to the number of protons in it. Thus, the total positive charge of the nucleus exactly balances the total negative charge in the atom, making it electrically neutral. The number of protons in an atom is called its atomic number. Electrons and nucleus are held together by electrostatic forces of attraction. Let's know about defects of Rutherford's model. According to Rutherford's model, an atom consists of a positive nucleus with the electrons moving around in its circular orbit. However, J.C. Maxwell, a scientist, shown that whenever an electron is subjected to acceleration, it emits radiation and loses energy. As a result of this, its orbit should become smaller and smaller, and finally it should drop into the nucleus by following a spiral path. This means the atom would collapse, and thus Rutherford's model failed to explain stability of atoms. And second point is another drawback of Rutherford's model, that is he shared nothing about the electronic structure of the atom. That is how the electrons are distributed around the nucleus and what are the energies of these electrons. Therefore, this model failed to explain the existence of certain definite lines in the hydrogen spectrum. Let's know about Bohr's model of an atom. To overcome the above these defects, overcome the Rutherford's model defect, Niels Bohr, another scientist, in 1913 gave a modification based on quantum theory of radiation. There are some important postulates. Let's know about the postulates. First point is the electrons revolve around the nucleus only in certain selected circular paths called orbits. These orbits are associated with definite energies and are called energy cells or energy levels of quantum levels. These are numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. or designated as KLMN, etc. Second point is as long as an electron remains in a particular orbit, it does not lose or gain energy. This means the energy of an electron in a particular path remains constant. Therefore, these orbits are also called stationary states. Third point is only those orbits are permitted in which angular momentum of the electron is a whole number multiple of h by 2 pi, and where h is Planck's constant. An electron moving in a circular orbit has an angular momentum equal to mvr, where m is the mass of the electron and v is the angular momentum, and mvr is as a whole number multiple of h by 2 pi. That is mvr equals to nh by 2 pi, where n equals to 1, 2, 3, like these numbers. In other words, angular velocity of electrons in an atom is quantized. Fourth point is, if an electron jumps from one stationary state to another, it will absorb or emit radiation of a definite frequency, giving a spectral line of that frequency which depends upon the initial and final levels. When an electron jumps back to the lower energy level, it radiates same amount of energy in the form of radiation. Let's know about limitations of Bohr's theory. According to Bohr, the radiation results when an electron jumps from one energy orbit to another energy orbit, but how this radiation occurs is not explained by Bohr. Bohr theory had explained the existence of various lines in H spectrum, but it predicted that only a series of lines exist. At that time, this was exactly what had been observed. However, as better instruments and techniques were developed, it was realized that the spectral line that had been thought to be a single line was actually a collection of several lines very close together. Thus, the appearance of the several lines implies that there are several energy levels which are close together for each quantum number n. This would require the existence of new quantum numbers. Bohr's theory has successfully explained the observed spectra of hydrogen atom and the hydrogen-like ions. It cannot explain the spectral series for the atoms having a large number of electrons. There was no satisfactory justification for the assumption that the electron can rotate only in those orbits in which the angular momentum of the electron MBR is a whole number multiple of h by 2 pi. That is, he could not give any explanation for using the principle of quantization of angular momentum, and it was introduced by him arbitrarily. Bohr assumes that an electron in an atom is located at a definite distance from the nucleus and is revolving around it with definite velocity. That is, it is associated with a fixed value of momentum. This is against the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, according to which it is impossible to determine simultaneously with certainty the position and the momentum of a particle. No explanation for Zeeman's effect. If a substance which gives a line emission spectrum is placed in a magnetic field, the lines of the spectrum get split up into a number of closely spaced lines. This phenomenon is known as Zeeman's effect. Bohr's theory has no explanation for this effect. No explanation of the Stark effect. Stark effect means if a substance which gives a line emission spectrum is placed in an external electric field, its lines get split into a number of closely spaced lines. This phenomenon is known as Stark effect. Bohr's theory is not able to explain this observation as well. Quantum numbers. The quantum numbers are nothing but the details that are required to locate an electron in an atom. These orbitals are designated by a set of numbers known as quantum numbers. In order to specify energy, size, shape and orientation of the electron orbital, there 3 quantum numbers are required. These are like the principle of quantum numbers: subsidiary quantum number and magnetic quantum number, spin quantum number, like this. Let's know about the principal quantum number. The electrons inside an atom are arranged in different energy levels are called electron cells or orbits. Each cell is characterized by a quantum number called the principal quantum number. This is represented by the letter n and have values 1, 2, 3, 4 like this. The first level is also known as KLM and n respectively. The subsidiary or azimuthal quantum number. According to Sommerfeld, a scientist, the electron in a particular energy level could have circular path or a variety of elliptical paths about the nucleus, resulting in slight difference in orbital shapes with slightly differing energy due to the differences in the attraction exerted by the nucleus on the electron. This concept have rise to the idea of the existence of sub-levels in each of the principal energy levels of the atom. This is denoted by L and have values from 0 to n minus 1. Thus, if n equals to 1, L equals to 0, only one value S level. One level only. That is, and n equals to 2, L equals to 0 and 1. 0 and 1, S and P level. N equals to 3, L equals to 0, 1 and 2. 3 values, 3 sub-labels, S, P, D level. N equals to 4, L equals to 0, 1, 2, 3. 4 values and 4 sub-labels, S, P, D, F level. Now, magnetic quantum number. In a strong magnetic field, a subcell is resolved into different orientations in space. These orientations, called orbitals, have slightly difference in energy. This explains the appearance of additional lines in atomic spectra produced when atoms emit light in magnetic field. Each orbital is designated by a magnetic quantum number m, and its values depend on the value of L. The values are L through 0 to L, and thus there are 2L plus 1 values. Let's know about spin quantum number. The electron in the atom rotates not only around the nucleus but also around its own axis, and two opposite directions of rotation are possible. Therefore, the spin quantum number can have only two values, plus 1 by 2 or minus 1 by 2. For each value of m including 0, there will be two values of s. Let's know about shapes or boundary surfaces of orbitals. S orbitals. For S orbital, L equals to 0, and hence m can have only one value, that is m equals to 0. This means that the probability of finding them m equals to 0 electron in S orbital is the same in all directions at a particular distance. In other words, S orbitals are spherical symmetrical. The electron cloud picture of 1s orbital is spherical. The s orbitals are more diffuse and have spherical shells within them, where probability of finding the electron is 0. These are called nodes. In 2s orbital, there is one spherical node. In the s orbital, numbers of nodes are n minus 1. P orbitals. For p orbitals, L equals to 1, and hence m can have three possible values, plus 1, 0, minus 1. This means that there are three possible orientations of electron cloud in a p subcell. The three orbitals of a p subcell are designated as px, py, and pz respectively along x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis respectively. Each p orbital is thus dumbbell shaped. In the absence of magnetic field, these three p orbitals are equivalent in energy and are therefore said to be threefold degenerate or triply degenerate. In the presence of an external magnetic field, the relative energy of the three p orbitals vary and depend on their orientation or magnetic quantum number. This probably accounts for the splitting of a single spectral line into a number of closely spaced lines in presence of a magnetic field. D orbitals. For d orbitals, L equals to 2, M equals to 0 or plus or minus 1 or plus or minus 2, indicating that d orbitals have 5 orientations. That is, there are 5 d orbitals which are named as dxy, dyz, dzx and a dx2 dx to the power 2 minus y square, y2, y square. The three orbitals namely dxy, dyz and dzx have their lobes lying symmetrical between the coordinate axes indicated in the subscript to d. Example, the lobes of dxy orbital are lying between the x and y axes. This set of three orbitals is known as T2G set, and dx2 and dx2 minus y square and dz2 orbitals have their lobes along the axis. Example, the lobes of d orbital lie along the x and y axis, while those of dz2 orbital lie along the z axis. This set is known as EG set. Chemical bonding. Let's know about chemical bonding. The atoms do not remain individually but form bonds among themselves. In the period from 1916 to 1919, two Americans, G. N. Lewis and Irving Longamoor, and a German, Werner Kossel, advanced an important proposal about chemical bonding. Some fundamental ideas associated with Lewis theory are: first point is electrons, especially those of the outermost electronic shell, play a fundamental role in chemical bonding. Second point is, in some cases, electrons are transferred from one atom to another. Positive and negative ions are formed and attract each other through electrostatic forces called ionic bonds. Second point is, in some cases, electrons are transferred from one atom to another. Positive and negative ions are formed and attract each other through electrostatic forces called ionic bonds. The other cases, one or more pairs of electrons are shared between atoms. A bond formed by the sharing of electrons between atoms is called a covalent bond. Electrons are transferred or shared in such a way that each atom acquires an especially stable electron configuration. Usually, this is a noble gas configuration, one with 8 outer shell electrons and an octet. Let's know about ionic bonds. In chemical bonds, atoms can either transfer or share their valence electrons. In the extreme case, where one or more atoms lose electrons and other atoms gain them in order to produce a noble gas electron configuration, the bond is called an ionic bond. Typical of ionic bonds are those in the alkali halides such as sodium chloride, that is NaCl. Ionization energy, electron affinity and lattice energy influencing the formation of ionic bonds. Lattice energy is defined as amount of energy released when cations and anions are brought from infinity to their respective equilibrium sites in crystal lattice. Let's know about covalent bond. What do you mean by covalent bond? Covalent chemical bonds involve the sharing of a pair of valence electrons by two atoms in contrast to the transfer of electrons in ionic bonds. Such bonds lead to stable molecule if they share electrons in such a way as to create a noble gas configuration for each atom. Hydrogen gas forms the simplest covalent bond in the diatomic hydrogen molecule. The halogens such as chlorine also exist as diatomic gases by forming covalent bonds. The nitrogen and oxygen, which makes up the bulk of the atmosphere, also exhibits covalent bonding in forming diatomic molecules. Let's know about valence bond theory. First point is the electron pair bond forms through the interaction of an unpaired electron on each of two atoms. Second point is the spin of the electron have to be opposed. Third point is once paired, the two electrons cannot take part in additional bonds. Fourth point is the electron exchange terms for the bond involves only one wave function from each atom. Thank you.